when you're teaching reading and writing, we have to kind of take on an edutaining attitude as teachers. And Smeckens Consultants and our website can give you tons of strategies and resources to support the education or the instruction part of your lessons. But a pretty common question we get is, but how do you make those lessons or strategies fun and engaging? How do you make reading fun and entertaining? Because as we all know, half our job is to entertain students while we're trying to educate them. I just received this question most recently from sixth grade social studies teacher Megan Stirk at Rensselaer Central Middle School. And I want to answer it because I think that there are things we can do that will absolutely up the engagement level of our students. So let me pop on over to our website and show you a few areas that might support this idea of the fun factor in our instruction. When you go to our website, of course, under the Idea Library blog, there are lots of strategies organized into subcategories. So if you're just looking for lesson ideas that are, engaging, explicit, for example, how to teach main idea, then the idea of using newspaper headlines or tweets or different things like that. When teaching kids how to kind of get their inference back on track, we can talk about Scooby-Doo. So there are lots of things just on the Idea Library blog in terms of strategies. But the teacher's delivery and presentation of those strategies needs to include engagement for the students. It can't just be sit and get and then passively waiting for the bell to ring. So let me show you a few specific articles within our website that might give you some ideas. First, when you are engaging or delivering those mini lessons, make sure that the teacher isn't doing all the talking in the 15 or 20 minutes. Make sure that there are opportunities for students to turn and talk and back to me. They've got to be efficient, they've got to be quick, they've got to be succinct, and the more examples you can bring into your mini lesson where kids are engaged in trying the skill just orally, then the better the reading or writing time will go that follows that instruction. Okay, let me show you another idea. When you're engaged in maybe a longer class instruction, it's not so much a mini lesson as we're reading through content, and you want them to kind of process or at least think, and then kind of what do you think and share out? You get the same three kids all the time, right? You got to check out this article on every student responses. It's referred to as ESRs. We've got to make sure that we're highly effective teachers having all students engaged in our classroom. So even when you're just doing conversation, discussion, back and forth, you want to make sure that all the students are thinking, even if they're not all actually answering the question out loud for the whole class. Okay, now let's also talk about engagement in terms of movement. I have this article that says, hey, if these kids are just going to sit for 40 minutes, 60 minutes, 80-minute block schedule, oh my goodness, they're going to fall asleep. Sitting is exhausting. So we want to make sure we give them opportunities to get up and move in the classroom. This article will give you several different ways for having kids up and moving, not just as a brain break. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting up and moving as they process the content that you just taught. This is the kind of active engagement that deepens their understanding. As we just kind of give kids background knowledge, sometimes at the beginning of a unit, this can be another opportunity where the kids are just unengaged and it's definitely not fun the first day of a new unit. Hey, when we don't know something in the real world, what do? We Google it. When we don't know something, we don't wait for someone to fill our background knowledge. We seek out the information. This article is all about how we need to expect students to fill or build their own background knowledge. How do you go about doing that? Here are several ways that you might try. This whole notion of engaging students with the content, not just teaching a strategy in a mini lesson, but the rest of the class period or the time you're going to work in that subject area, it also has to be fun, right? Edutaining. That's what we do.